From 12 News, this is Newsmakers.
Despite a recent signature controversy, the ballot in the first congressional race is set, with 12 Democrats and 2 Republicans seeking to replace former Congressman David Cicilline. A Pawtucket native with White House experience is looking to break out of the pack. Our guest on the first half of Newsmakers, Democratic candidate for Congress, Gabe Amo. Then, political insight from 2 people who know what it's like to run a high-stakes campaign. A political roundtable with former mayors Allan, Fung, and Angel Taveras on the second half of Newsmakers. Welcome to Newsmakers. I'm Tim White alongside 12 News politics editor Ted Nesi. Gabe Amo, Democratic candidate for Congress. Good to have you in the program. Welcome.
It's an honor to be with you.
So let's start with, the question I like to ask a lot of candidates, 60 seconds or less. Why do you want to be a member of Congress?
Well, I'm running for Congress because I believe that Rhode Islanders deserve a congressperson who can be effective from day one, who can hit the ground running, who has the requisite experience to serve Rhode Islanders in Washington, D.C. Look, I have deep Rhode Island values. I grew up in Pawtucket. I'm a poor kid from Pawtucket who has had the opportunity to serve at the heights of government, and I think we have big fights ahead, and you need seasoned leadership to be able to get that job done.
Let's say you win and you head to Congress. What would be your first piece of legislation that you file?
Yes, the first piece of legislation that I would file would be strengthening Social Security and Medicare. There is a bill right now by Congressman Larson from Connecticut to extend the life of Social Security. We need to double down on the promise that we've made to seniors to have Social Security there and strengthen that system so that it will be there for generations to come.
How would it extend the life of Social Security?
So it raises the cap on payroll taxes. It also invests in the system of administering Social Security because we have a lot of these legacy government programs that require infrastructure improvements to serve people that they need to serve.
So we're going to talk about what you would do in the House if elected first. We want to start with some politics and some of what's going on in the campaign because things have finally kind of heated up in this first district race. I want to start with something that just broke in the last 24 hours. Aaron Regenberg, one of the leading Democrats in this race, it emerged, we reported that his father-in-law has put $125,000 into a super PAC to help him. Regenberg says he had no idea his family was going to do that. He's not coordinating with them. You put out a statement raising your eyebrows about that, but you have a super PAC backing you. Democrats serve. They're putting money in. Is it fair to argue there's a difference there where you're both getting help from a super PAC?
Well, Ted, I'm a poor kid from Pawtucket, and I will tell you that I don't have a family member who can put $125,000 into a super PAC. So if folks want to recognize my public service background, I worked for 2 presidents at the White House and worked for Governor Raimondo here. I appreciate that, but we're talking about a family member with $125,000. That's big money to me, and I don't think that is consistent with the values we believe as a party, nor that Mr. Regenberg has spoken to as a Working Families Party candidate.
So you don't believe that? You think they coordinated?
Look, I'll take him at face value, but the facts are there. These are facts, and I would expect Rhode Islanders to look at the choice they can make. They can vote for somebody with the experience that I have working for 2 presidents and a public service background, or someone who is funded by their family members in the 6-figure range. That's a real choice.
So another big piece of news lately is a signature scandal that has impacted, to say the least, the Sabina Matos campaign. It actually, I think, arguably thrust this race into the public psyche. We talked to people who say their names were forged on Matos nomination papers, and there's now a criminal investigation, as you know. You were very critical of your opponent for not immediately speaking out publicly about it. You even held a press conference to blast her. She responded to that at a news conference last Friday. I want to play a little bit of that for us.
And I'm ready to answer to my opponents. This has been a really tough week for me, to have to be quiet and let everybody just say whatever they want. Not anymore. You've just covered a press conference this morning for one of them. I think they were trying to get their as much as they could out of the situation for free publicity. So if you want to give them more, you can give them more.
She was referencing your press conference there. Gabe, was that a cheap shot on your part?
Not a cheap shot. At a time where people are questioning whether someone should be on the ballot nationally, Democrats are speaking values of making sure our elections are free and fair and the results are valued. I think it's a reasonable question when there's an ongoing investigation by multiple entities in the state. The Attorney General, the state police, local police, boards of canvassers.
That's all the same investigation. That's not. You're making it sound like multiple investigations.
Well, those are multiple,
one criminal investigation.
But Tim, those are multiple entities. Okay, so
that's common, Gabe, in how these work.
Respectfully, I would say it is a legitimate question that people should have. We have, thanks to your reporting, and I'm appreciative of Channel 12 digging in, because Rhode Islanders deserve to know. And if I, as a voter in the 1st Congressional District, have questions, I'm sure many others do too.
Do you think she should be on the ballot?
I think it's a reasonable question. I would hope that we had an investigation that came to conclusion before them, but this is going to be an ongoing investigation, and that's unfair to voters.
One more question on the signature scandal. So, you and multiple candidates have been quite critical of Sabina Matos, Regenberg. Don Carlson, though, was the only one who actually filed a challenge at the Board of Elections. If this is a big issue, why didn't your campaign put an official challenge against her signatures in?
Well, as you showed in the clip, the Lieutenant Governor chose silence. And I naively thought, because I have great respect for her, that she would speak out herself and clarify, but she waited until I had a press conference to then have her own. So we're talking about leadership here. In Congress, leaders have to speak. We're sending someone to speak on behalf of Rhode Islanders. So I think it's important to have that. Now, I did not file a challenge. Mr. Carlson did, but he didn't see it through himself. And so I defer to the leaders that we have, the Board of Elections. I see it's on the agenda for Monday. People, or Tuesday, I think people need to act. And I expect our leaders to act appropriately.
The Board of Elections has said that they're not going to do an independent audit. They're going to wait for the criminal investigation to wrap up, but we don't know when that's going to be. Do you think, real quick, and we'll finish this, do you think the Board of Elections should have done an independent audit of all the nomination papers?
Without a doubt.
Okay. Let's do a quick rapid fire section. I want to go through some topics. I don't want to belabor too much, just so people at home can get a sense on where you stand on some topics. Would you support or oppose a federal ban on what have been labeled assault-style rifles like the AR-15?
Yes, time to act is now.
Support or oppose term limits for Supreme Court justices?
We need Supreme Court justices to have term limits.
And
yes.
How long would you propose?
I think that's an open conversation to have with Congress.
Support or oppose term limits for U.S. reps, for
yes.
members of Congress? And how long?
I think, again, a conversation I have. I know Congressman Magaziner's leading a bill. I would look forward to working with him on that length.
And finally, support or oppose legislation that would legalize recreational marijuana at the federal level?
Yes, I think President Biden has started that process, and I would support moving in that direction.
One question I always like to ask candidates for Congress, because I think it can be kind of telling, is if you get down there, and they probably won't happen if you win because you'll be a freshman, but let's say they said you can have any committee you want. What committee in the House would you most want to serve on if you got carte blanche?
Well, I'd love to match the work of Senator Reid in the Senate and be on the Appropriations Committee in the House. And I know I probably won't have that choice.
Yeah.
But this job is about serving Rhode Islanders, getting the resources we need here. And because of my experience working in the Biden administration, I think I know where more of those dollars are than anybody in this field. And I want to use that from day one.
Speaking of the Biden administration, as you know, President Biden announced he's running again. And I know you, having worked for him, will support him in his run for president once again. But not everyone in your party is happy about that. Biden will be in his mid-80s at the end of his second term if he wins. What do you say to all the Democrats, and we see it in the polling, that people who think he's just too old to serve anymore?
I disagree. I have been in the Oval Office with him. And I don't think anybody in this field knows what it's like to be on the other end of the president peppering you because he wants to get to solving a problem. And that's what I got to do at the White House. I saw it firsthand. The doubters just don't have that proximity. And he's going to do that work. And I look forward to being a surrogate for his campaign when I'm elected.
Is there a problem, though, with in Washington with how there are so many people of quite advanced age and position? We see the questions about Dianne Feinstein. We saw what happened with Mitch McConnell recently. The president is 80. His leading rival will be 80 in his first term. I mean, does it give you any concern, even if you're a strong Biden supporter, about that level of kind of I don't know, senior domination on the Hill?
Well, we need generational leadership. That's why generational change in our leadership, and that's why I'm running. I truly believe that I can be that voice for Rhode Islanders, and that's why I'm in this race. And certainly Washington is a town that needs new voices. And I'm hopeful that we are going to build some momentum by picking a new congressperson here to lead the vanguard.
Let's talk about the campaign, and let's talk brass tacks. There are going to be people watching this show, maybe they're intrigued, but they know that the conventional wisdom is Sabina Matos is first or second. Aaron Regenberg is in there with her. And then there's a few of you who are also, strong candidates, but aren't seen as up at the very top with those two. What is your case to those people that you are going to be able to beat back all the outside money coming in for Sabina Matos as well as now Aaron Regenberg and their kind of name recognition from already having been in state office? What is your message to people who think, where am I waste my vote on this guy?
That is not what I'm hearing at the doors. I knock on a lot of doors, and I hear people who say, A, I've seen your TV commercial, but two, they say to me, I like your experience. I like that you know Washington, but you're a guy from Pawtucket. So it is not a leap to see me as one of the leaders in this race. I think if you speak to both the political class and man on the street, they will say, I think there's something about Gabe Amo because he can get the job done. And that's the case I will continue to make on the doors in my events, and we're making such great progress. I am thrilled for the support of so many Rhode Islanders. You see my lawn signs popping up out there because I am connected to people throughout Rhode Island, throughout the 1st Congressional District, and they know that I am in this to serve. This is not about building up my brand. I resigned working for the president at the White House to come back home, a place that I care about more than anywhere else in the world, to serve.
You said you were interested in appropriation, so let's talk about a piece of that. The debt ceiling fight is like turning into Groundhog's Day, right? And the last time the president and the Republican members of House faced off on this, it was like a game of fiscal chicken. We're probably going to see it again in the fall. If you were in Congress right now, would you be open to spending cuts in exchange for raising the debt ceiling?
If the cuts are talking about ending subsidies to big oil, that's where I am. If the cuts are about reversing the tax cuts to the rich, that's where I am. But I will not ever cut a social program, cut anything that is part of the safety net to make people survive and thrive in our economy and in our country.
No, I thought we had to go to the break.
Oh, sorry. You know what? We should go to a break because I want to get to the second half. But I do want to ask you this one last question.
How the sausage is made, folks, here. They're saying in our ears.
Is living in CD1 a requirement in your book?
Yes.
Okay. Gabe Amo, Democratic candidate for Congress, thanks so much for joining us on the program.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right. When we come back, a special political roundtable with former mayors Allan, Fung, and Angel Taveras. Stay with us. You're watching Newsmakers. Welcome back to Newsmakers. I'm Tim White alongside 12 News politics editor Ted Nesi. This is a political roundtable. Special guests. We have former Republican mayor of Cranston, Allan Fung, and former Democratic mayor of Providence, Angel Taveras. Gentlemen, does this feel like a classical high school reunion to the both of you right now?
Absolutely. Purple power right there on display.
I wouldn't have worn purple because you're not going to be able to tell us apart now.
Yeah. That's right. Exactly. Shows you being bipartisan today, right? Yeah.
So, look, you both are here in a different capacity. I mean, normally Ted and I would be grilling you about policy or something like that when you're in office or running for office. Since you're here as political analysts, we're going to call you Allan and Angel. I hope that's okay. Just makes the show go by a lot faster and easier. Angel, we'll start with you. Many people remember your years at City Hall in Providence, and that you ran unsuccessfully for governor, but many may not remember that you also ran for Congress. How many years ago was that?
Over 20 years ago.
Over 20 years ago.
23 years ago.
What advice would you give to the Democratic candidates, 12 of them, that are running in CD1 right now?
Well, first, remember, I didn't win, so I don't know how valuable my advice is.
Fair enough.
No, listen, I think that the biggest thing is to try to get your message out there to the voters, and it's really challenging for them because there are so many of them. And that's going to be a challenge to break through and have a message that resonates with that many candidates. And you have several elected officials. Several of them have raised a good amount of money. You talked about outside money coming in. So it's a challenge to try to just meet as many people as you can. TV helps you do that. But then they have the added challenge of having so many, right, to choose from. That how do you distinguish yourself? So that's going to be the challenge for them. I was able to do that a little bit more because I was more unique. But in that sense, in that race, there was only 4 candidates.
Yeah.
I also had the two candidates above, so to speak, really kind of fighting back and forth, and that helped a little bit. But I don't see that here.
Just for sticking with you for one more minute, Angel. So that was, to remind me, that was the race Jim Langevin won that got him into Congress for his career back in 2000. You know, I can see actually a little comparison between you and our first half guest, Gabe Amo, as someone running for the first time, has a statewide elected official currently in office as a top tier candidate in the race. You know, just as a human running for office, as a candidate trying, what does it feel like when you're up against kind of the juggernaut of someone who's already got a big office?
It's challenging. First of all, Gabe has done an outstanding job. He's raised a lot of money. He's got a lot of support. He's got a great resume in the work that he's done, serving our country, serving our state. I want to give that to him. But if you looked at the first half, you spent almost, I don't know how much time, we spent a lot of time asking him about other candidates. And I understand why. I mean, I understand why, but that's one of the challenges, right? I don't know if it's his first time here on Newsmakers, but you know, he wants to be able to get out there his bio, his vision, what he's done, and he has to answer about the other candidates. And part of it is that they're in the news, they're making news, you know them, the people out there know them, and you know, it's a choice. So you want to know why you're a better choice. So it's a challenge, and the raising money is one of the most difficult things. And I applaud him for the work that he's done in terms of raising money as a first-time candidate. He's done an outstanding job.
But it's got to be a little bit more than the money, because what's interesting about hearing my friend talk about it is it's been 20 plus years since he ran to what we are facing right now. Dynamics have changed substantially, and money matters even more in order to get your message out.
Why do you think that?
No, absolutely. When you're taking a look at how many candidates, just on the Democratic side, you have a couple of Republicans there too, but when you have that much of a field, you've got to stand out. Angel had a crowd of 4, and he was standing out with not only his message, but who he was. Here, you have a more diverse pool. Everyone's trying to distinguish themselves from one another. Look, the Democratic playbook messaging is still there. It's about going against the guns. It's about going against the MAGA Republicans and everything else. I can hear those messages day after day. Was the messages used against me? But one of the things that they have to do is distinguish themselves from voters, but more importantly, use those dollars effectively, not just to get on the airwaves, but in digital format to also get out that vote in a special election. The ground game is going to be important. In a special, pulling out those mail ballots, early voting, getting those and banking the vote is going to be critical, more so than just on election day. Dynamics in the electoral process has changed over 20 years.
Okay, like early voting and mail ballots.
Yeah. There's one thing that's key though, and that is that getting your name out there and getting on TV is still important. I could see the change. I see the change now, having been out of office over 8 years, and people still recognize me. And I know that's because of the amount of time, unfortunately, I spent here and some other places.
I won't take offense to that.
Yeah. So I think that coupled, when they see you on TV, you become real. You become almost like a star, and then they say, "Oh, I saw you on TV," and that couples together, and it makes them more likely.
Well, you're in their living room.
Absolutely.
You're in their living room.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but it's more than that, though. No offense to television, it's the digital platform now that really has to be
we also have
played.
a website, just so you know.
Thanks. Website, come on. No, but seriously, you've got to really make sure that you're so much to the point where you're annoying. Because that's when you know you're penetrating. We're talking about...
And you and Seth did get annoying after our last fall with the amount of ads you had on.
But you know what's crazy about that? That is what happens in any battleground state as we're coming next year into a presidential. Any other battleground states, purplish type states, representing our, purple pride, where it's always a constant battle. That's where the dollars go to really get the message out.
It did feel like a battleground state here, I will say, in your race last time. Look, we've been talking a lot about the Democrats, Allan, but there are 2 Republicans running. Do you see a path for a Republican victory in the first congressional race at all?
Look, there's always a pathway, or else people wouldn't be jumping in. And people do jump in even when there isn't a pathway. You've got a great candidate in Gary Leonard who, distinguished military background. Terry Flynn, who's running too, served on her time in the Middletown Town Council. So you got good individuals that's got to get their message out. They got to raise the dollars, make sure that they hit those metrics so that outside the state, not only just the national Republicans, but other individuals will be able to invest in them and in their platforms to help get the message out. Because who knows what can happen, especially in a special election.
Low turnout.
Low turnout. And depending on who comes out on the Democratic side, you never put anything. But it's going to be, and I'm not kidding anyone, a long road for them and an uphill battle.
Let's talk about the signature scandal, because as you alluded to, Angel, it's been probably the biggest story in this race so far. You know all the both of you know all the players who are running for office, and we know that. But do you think that did real damage to Sabina Matos, who was widely seen as the front runner before that broke, or do you think, while it was some bad headlines, it was survivable for her?
Well, we'll find out for sure in a month, but I do think it did damage, without a doubt, because I know people say that any publicity is good publicity, but all publicity is good publicity. I don't agree. In a race like this, when that is one of the predominant stories that you've had, and it's still like coming out, different things, I don't think that's helpful. So I don't know how much damage it's done. I don't have data to know. But has it done damage? I think it has. It's created an opening, I think, for other candidates. And unfortunately, I do think it has done damage to them.
The Matos campaign said, and she said it herself at a press conference we played at in the first half, that she couldn't talk about the scandal until the Board of Elections weighed in. In the meantime, her candidates, Allan, filled that vacuum. Look, you've been the subject of critical stories. You were never a duck and cover kind of elected official. Do you think that was a mistake by the Matos campaign to stay silent for that long?
Absolutely. Get out in front. You're running for Congress. You're running for a very important position. People want to see that leadership from myself, from Angel coming out in front saying it's a Category 5. They want to know.
Do you remember that? That wasn't bad for him.
It wasn't. No, but it was bad for the other individual.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
But that's leadership. It is actually getting out in front, letting people know what is going on. They want transparency in this day and age. They're sick and tired of people holding back, because when your opponents are coming at you and letting them drive whatever messaging, because they don't know all the facts, you do. Control that. Get out there. Talk to you guys to get your side of the story, what happened. Talk to them about your actions, because that's what leadership demands. When you're trying to go for governor, Congress, any of these higher offices, people want to see confidence, leadership, and an ability to act and not be afraid. A week is a long time in a media cycle.
Yes, it definitely is. We're sitting here with two lawyers, and Angela, you have sort of special expertise in election law. You were a legal counsel to former Secretary of State Nellie Gorbea. There's been some dispute as to whether the Board of Elections could independently investigate the questionable signatures submitted by the Matos campaign. The current Secretary of State, Greg Amo, says yes, as does John Marion from Common Cause Rhode Island. Others, including former board member and Judge Steve Erickson, say no. What do you say? You know this area well.
Yeah, well, first disclosure, I still represent the Secretary Amo, and I'm not here speaking on his behalf.
Okay, thank you.
However, I agree with him.
Maybe he got the counsel from you.
so I agree with him, and I think that the Board of Elections has broad power, and I think that including overseeing the local boards of canvassers, who are the ones who verify the signatures on these nomination papers. So I would just say that I do think that power is there, and it's unfortunate that this has happened, because it's something that from the Matos campaign perspective, you hire someone, you pay them, they say they've done their job, they take an oath to say they've done their job, and this happens. It's a tough thing to catch, and it's unfortunate, because it has been story after story. And I disagree with Allan on one way, and that is that in terms of her coming out earlier, I think that would have helped if there was just one real story. But when you had multiple towns and you had multiple stories, I think it became even a bigger problem.
I want to stick with you on a different question, Angel, because there's been a lot of hopes about this being a chance to diversify the people who represent Rhode Island in Congress, potentially sending the first Latina it would be candidate, as well as maybe sending a Democratic woman for the first time. You have 3 currently elected Latina elected officials in this: Lieutenant Governor Matos, of course, State Senator Sandra Cano, who's running hard with her own strategy, Senator Ana Quezada, who's strong in South Providence. Do you think some of the conventional wisdom is they're going to split some of the vote in their community, and then other people say that's, you shouldn't look at it like that. Every candidate is themselves as an individual. Well, how do you view it as someone who's been involved in Latino politics in Rhode Island?
I think without a doubt they're going to split some of the vote in the community. Without a doubt. I know that Senator Quesada has a great ad on Spanish radio because I listen all the time. Senator Cano has really built a good campaign, has gotten endorsements of mayors, and never underestimate that, especially in a special election. She also just got the endorsement of Senator Bell, who's a big progressive and someone who, while we may not agree all the time, I have a deep respect for. And I think that instead of all of them coming together, and then you have Lieutenant Governor who's gotten the endorsement of Labor, although Senator Connor also has the NEA. So
a lot of splits in this.
So there is a lot, and I think that I think without any doubt, if at the end you look at the votes that all of them got together, that would have been more than enough to put any one of them over the top.
We have like 45 seconds left here, so people at home are going to wonder this question. I'm just going to ask it. Any appetite for either of you to run again for elected office, Allan?
I'm happy at my law firm right now, doing the practice that I'm doing, where I am quasi involved with government. So we'll see in the future, supporting my wife in all her endeavors.
Excellent. And Angel?
No.
Do you want to elaborate, or that's pretty clear? Yeah, okay.
All right, look, well, this is much easier for you guys, huh? Political analysts, you're not getting grilled by Ted and I. We really appreciate you coming on the show. Angel Taveras, Allan Fung, thanks for joining us. If you missed any of it, it's on WPRI.com. He's Ted Nesi. I'm Tim White. We'll see you next week.